Hi all, it's Paul Zalesak with Leather Wranglers again, and in this little video I'm going to try and show you a couple things about making swivel knife cuts so that you don't get the undercut, and I'm going to try and show you what causes the undercut and how to correct it. And to do that, I'm going to use a couple of swivel knives. I'm going to do a little practice piece, and then I'm going to explain a couple of techniques that were taught to me. So that's what's coming in here just a little bit, okay? Okay, so for the first part of this demonstration and explanation, I'll be using what we typically call a perfectly dull blade. I have sacrificed a 1/4 inch blade and dulled it, put it into an Al Gould silver and black, one of our Al Gould specials, just so that I can show you what we call perfectly dull. When you put this blade in the leather and you bear down on it, it doesn't actually slice into the leather. It's not making a cut, it's making a real nice dent or a crease in there, but it's not actually slicing the leather open. So this is a really beneficial feature of a blade when you're carving on thin leather, like 2 to 3 ounce leather for boot tops or something. You still have a line that you can bevel, but it's not sliced open on thin leather where it can tear apart. This typically also happens to people on their regular swivel knife blade when they strop it a lot, and they strop and they roll the knife when they're stropping instead of keeping it flat and parallel to the planes that make up the cutting edge. Now, the one thing about this perfectly dull blade is no matter how much you tilt it to the left or to the right, no matter how much you tilt it off of center, which is what you're not supposed to do, you'll notice you don't get that undercut. You can't get that undercut because it's actually denting the leather and not slicing it. So even when I lean it off to an extreme like that, you can see that it's just going to make the dent. It won't slice and make the undercut. In comparison, now we have a sharp Leather Wrangler swivel knife blade, and this time I put it in the red and silver Al Gould barrel just so I could remember which one was dull and which one was sharp. But you'll notice that if I lean this off to the side and I make that cut, I get a very severe undercut and a real sharp lip. So when we make our cuts with a sharp blade, we need to keep it vertical in the direction of the cut. In other words, we don't want to lean it this way, but we want to tilt it front or back depending on how deep or how shallow we want to make that cut. So when we're making the cuts using a sharp blade, we keep it vertical in this plane with a little tilt away from us in that plane, and then that way when we make the cut, we have an equal opening on both sides. But you'll see that the leather is sliced open here. It's dented there. This is where the problem comes in when people go from a dull blade to a sharp blade. They get used to running the lean turn. They lean the blade into the cut, and then the sharp blade gives them that lip. Another phenomenon that occurs is sometimes when you have a really soft leather, and I probably can't do it on this because this is a relatively firm leather, but sometimes when people are making a cut, they will inadvertently push toward the outside, sort of like when you're skiing and you hit the slalom turn, you're pushing to the outside and sliding, and in soft leather that gets amplified by that lip that rolls up. So the way to avoid that is to keep equal pressure and just make the turn. This is a trick that Kelly Seidel taught me, is don't try to pull it, don't try to push it, just follow your pattern and make the turn, keeping it vertical, and you'll avoid that lip from rolling up. Okay, So those are some of the reasons that cause that lip to curl up when you're making your swivel knife cuts. And sometimes this can be a little exaggerated when you're doing the scallops on leaves or flowers like in Sheridan floral type carving. But if you just make the turn, that's exactly what Kelly taught me. It was very simple. Just twist the barrel, let the knife do the work, and you'll be home free with it. A little bit of practice and you'll understand exactly how it feels. So I hope that helps. If you have any questions, call anytime. Thank you. Bye.